Coming up on Saturday, NBA TV, the Beard and the Rockets face AD and the Pels. And then what's wrong, if anything, with Golden State? The question, they are in Portland. Always coverage on our Trader pregame begins. NBA TV, we welcome you inside our set here in Atlanta. And we're in an age of social media, clearly, as we know. That's what seems to drive and move the needle of conversation. But because that media people, guys like me, they say, we want the truth. I don't want PC answers. Or do we? Take a listen to what Kevin Durant had to say on Posted Up, the podcast with Chris Haynes.
I've come to the conclusion that people hate the fact that I play for the Warriors, and people hate the fact that I'm so damn good at basketball. They don't like that combination. And so that brings out jealousy, envy, even if it's through comments or even if it's through, slick comments through the media or people testing my manhood on TV. They just cannot stand when somebody like me is so successful and doing it a way that they didn't want me to do it.
Yeah, in the same day, this also came out today. The Jazz and the Sixers played on our TNT doubleheader that Ben Simmons told the Salt Lake Tribune about the Rookie of the Year race. It wasn't a bleeping race. You saw the votes, right? Did you see the votes? So what's the question? Now, clearly, maybe a question of why discussing that when you just won in a huge game and beat Utah. But I want to ask you guys as athletes about this, and I think this is important. We want guys to own, Smitty, who they are. Mm-hmm. We want them to be honest, and I do want that. But when is brash and arrogant and confident good, and when is it not? How honest should these athletes really be?
Well, I think it's good when your play is also backing up your talk, B. Wood. And I think also now we're in a day and age right now where guys are looking at it's guaranteed contracts, it's always been, but the amount of money right now, guys are feeling like they're controlling their brand. And I think right now more, it used to be less is more is more right now. And I think guys are going out there and answering questions, and they know what they're doing. Now, like sometimes you have some guy make a bad social media tweet or Instagram, but for the most part, when you have a microphone in front of them, all these guys are understanding what they're saying, and they retract some of it, but they're owning most of it. And I think right now is this a free part of the media because of social media, and there's so many podcasts and everybody. When I played, it was 2 or 3 reporters in the locker room. B. Wood. Now it's 10, 12, and that's also you count social media.
I don't mind you being brash as long as your game backs it up. Some guys can talk more than others, and KD feels he can talk that way. And KD can talk that way because he's arguably the best player in basketball. I'd say he's number 2 behind LeBron James. Listening to his comments, though, I think he's slightly misguided. I took 2 things away from that. First of all, people don't hate Kevin Durant because he's good at basketball, because they loved him when he was in OKC.
That's right.
Some people disagree with the way he has gone about winning his titles, and that is by joining a team that won 73 games and already had a title. So that is why some people don't like KD. It's not because he's not good in basketball. And the second thing, if KD was right here, you know what I'd tell him, Smitty? Why do you care? These people that don't like you, they're never going to like you.
Right.
Kevin Durant, you're a 2-time NBA champion, 2-time Finals MVP, a league MVP, and you got a lot of money. You're going to make even more money this offseason. Smitty, I'm saying the boy's got his own money.
So you're thinking by those comments that you think he's bothered?
He's definitely bothered. The guy has burner Twitter accounts. What I'm saying is at this point, Kevin has achieved so much basketball-wise. He's above the comments that he's making right now. He doesn't even need to stoop to these people's level. You're giving these people power over your life, Kevin. You've achieved everything.
No, he's got everything.
so he has no reason to be. He has no reason to be like this.
7 more years to be at the top.
I want to ask you guys this though about guys like Ben, because you take it a step further. There used to be, and look, I'm doing it 15 years, which isn't 40, but it's a long time. There used to be this thought where, almost like when you're new on a team, if you're new in the league, you're not supposed to act as if, other than your own role, right? You haven't earned that place yet. For a guy like Ben Simmons, we know is a great talent, right? A lot of ability. We also know needs to work on his shot. This hasn't been a perfect season. Do you want him saying, if you're sitting there, you're a teammate in that room, Smitty, and it's not just about Ben, because we see this from a lot of young kids. What should be the conversation with a player like Ben after talking about it?
Well, I think if you're going based off those comments he just made, they're in Salt Lake, and they're still bringing it up. So I had no problem with being in Salt Lake.
Okay.
I mean, because why are you still talking about Rookie of the Year? It's over with. It's done, whether you thought Donovan Mitchell or Ben Simmons, and obviously in Salt Lake they thought it was Donovan Mitchell. But it's done instead of asking the question. So I think that's the reason why he answered that way.
But should that be the answer, though, Smitty? We used to think, B. Wood, that the right answer was, well, why are you asking me about that, right? I always call it the Derek Jeter handbook. There are other guys like that who always answer and do the right thing. We're in a new world. I'm down with personality, and I think you should
I don't
own
think that
who
was the
you
wrong
are.
thing. I don't think the wrong thing. I mean, obviously we're going to take comments, but I think you got to also be there. If a reporter is still asking you about that the way it was asked,
Yeah.
I had no problem with that one.
I have no problem with Ben answering that question like that. You know
Me
why?
either.
Because Donovan Mitchell trolled him on multiple occasions last year with the hoodies and the T-shirts made by Adidas, poking fun at Ben. They were selling them in stores. So Ben probably got a little ticked off at that. If you wear a shirt that I feel is insulting to me, I get to answer that question in that type of fashion. Does Ben Simmons have holes in his game? Yes. But guess what? He's a great young player in this league. He probably felt a little disrespected by the shirts and that Donovan was poking some fun at him. And so when they asked him the question, he let him know, listen.
Especially in Utah.
Yeah, especially in Utah. Listen, there was, 101 votes and Ben got 90 of them? He feels like, listen, there was no competition for Rookie of the Year.
One of the great things that I love about covering this sport, and it's not the same way in baseball, which I cover others, in the NBA, we embrace the now. We embrace culture, right? We embrace personality, the ability to own who you are. And I think the commissioner and the league office does a great job with that. We see that when we're out at All-Star Weekend, talking about what guys are wearing. We've got LeBron bringing wine, possibly, unless it was grape juice.
No, it was definitely wine.
I
It was
know
def-
it's
it
a
was def- it was
different
definitely wine.
age than when you came into
Yeah.
the league. Are you okay with that direction? And should, because of that, we be more okay than maybe we are now as part of the media with some of what people say?
You know, I'm not okay with everything. There's a fine line on a lot of things, you know, and obviously it's personal choice. But I mean, dress code, for instance. Me and B. Wood has had that. It's a different generation. I also look at it being professional. I also understand guys have their own brand and their own style. It's just a fine line. Do I look at some guys and say, oh, no. And it's not because of the loudness. And I just think there's a fine line the way you approach the game. But I think guys owning their own brand, I just love the individuality. What they've done, they've taken back the power of owning their own brand, and I think that's been a good thing.
You know, the problem of what we used to say, Brandon, I'm sure you heard this in the room all the time, is, you know, they're the cliches that you got to give. I mean, you guys, did you have a favorite? What was your favorite cliche after a loss? Be honest. You got to have one. We're not worried about tonight.
Nah,
Or we got to think about tomorrow.
I didn't really have a favorite cliche, man.
Favorite cliche?
Well, come on. I heard them all. Come on. You guys are the only two that don't give cliches. We used to
I didn't have
do
a
that all
favorite
the time.
cliche.
I have a flavor.
I didn't have
You
a
just
hey,
used what it
Smitty,
was.
I didn't have a go-to.
Okay.
Yeah, what was the go-to?
But
We lost.
You would use them, correct?
It wasn't a favorite.
Yeah, sometimes.
But you would sometimes go.
It was also who's asking the question and how.
Okay.
You know, if it was
Okay.
the one reporter I go, hey, next question.
Okay.
No comment.
Okay.
So it's dependent on the relationship you had.
I like the honesty. To kind of close this out for now, should we be preaching that, hey, look, this is, if you're going to accept and be into everything else we just talked about, then we need to accept the truth. And we're not always going to like it when somebody's, look, you got to be confident to do what these dudes are doing.
But let
on
me
the
ask you
floor,
on the
right?
flip
love the
side.
honesty.
Let me ask the flip side. You know, and obviously all three of us on the media side.
Sure.
Should there be some accountability on the media side?
Yes.
And that's the part I look
Yes.
at. There's got to be some accountability on both sides.
Yes.
Honestly, I love the honesty. I like guys having more power, more of a say. They can voice things a lot more because of social media, the 24-hour news cycle. So I love guys being honest. I love guys putting themselves out there. But they just have to understand how media works and how this world works. If you say certain things, people get to interpret them their own way, and they can come back at you. That's what I'm saying with Kevin. It's like, hey, some people are going to interpret some things. They're going to come back at you. It shouldn't
he
really
shouldn't
matter.
care.
So if you're a thick-skinned guy, if you're like a Kobe Bryant who generally doesn't care, then go on out there and be you. Joel Embiid will say whatever.
I love that.
He doesn't care,
I
and
love
he
that.
backs it up. So
Yes.
you got to be
But
who.
what
you,
happens when you stop backing it up? You game.
Well, that's a problem because you but you have to be able to take it too. So if you're a guy that makes these type of comments, you have to understand if you make a comment then you play bad, people are gonna rip you on Twitter, and so you can't be sensitive. So it just depends on who you are. It's from person to person. I love the honesty.
Hey, look, I forget media. I love it too. Own who you are. I'd rather disagree with what you say if you're being real.
long
than
as
be
you're being
fake.
real.
No
Yep,
eyewash.
as long as you're real to yourself.
No eyewash. We're going to go wash our, we do makeup during the break. So we'll wash our eyes and Brendan.
You got on makeup?
No, Brendan's sweating.
Me and B. Wood don't have on makeup.
Oh, please come on with that. Brendan is the reason we have makeup.
Hey Casey,
Smitty's
why your
not
legs
Brendan.
swinging like that?
Yeah, because I can't reach the floor, man. No LeBron but no excuse. Lakers not good in the second half. And by the way, that's Los Angeles against L.A., the Lakers being Los Angeles. It took me like 2 years to understand. I saw this board, I'm like, who won? You're not going to be happy if you're Luke. You're not going to be happy if you're LeBron, who basically is sitting there and pretty much, not coaching necessarily, but in his mind, and I'm sure in the timeouts, when he put the wine down, was doing that. And you're watching a team where you're looking for, both of you guys, young players to step up. And they really let mistakes get in their way, especially defensively in the second half.
Yeah, and I think for them it's still a learning period. As you can see, the Clippers still ran their offense, and I think it was a total effort when you're talking about that entire Clipper team. I think they just wore down the Lakers. And they're missing some bodies other than LeBron and Rondo. JaVale McGee is another guy that's out. They are going to continue to learn. I like the way they played, but now it's time to start to understand this. There's going to be some guys like Lance Stevenson comes off the bench, KCP. Those guys are going to have to add to this team for them to be able to get some wins.
Did you say bench? I know this because I've failed miserably in a league we were in fantasy football. And the worst thing is, when you see all the points on your bench, not in the NBA, that's good. 71? Not good for the Lakers. That's 71 bench points for the Clippers, 36 for Lou Will.
Listen, that's the story of the game. The bench points, Lou Will come off the bench, Montrezl Harrell. He's been a great find off the bench all year long. But the Clippers bench basically determined this game. They dictated how things were going to be played, and the Lakers just never responded to it. And we know what Lou Will can do. And this Clipper team went through a little lull. They were missing Lou Williams. I think with this game, he announced, Smitty, he's officially back. He's officially back.
You mentioned Harrell, and we were talking about this a couple nights ago. He's played so well. How much because I think we wonder on the outside looking in as fans, where coach imprint fits and where you notice it. Doc has done such a great job, especially since becoming solely the coach again. But how much of what his culture is allows Harrell and the bench players, other than Lou Will, who we know we could score, can go ahead and have moments and time to play and have those moments?
You know what I love about Montrezl Harrell is just watching him since high school and in college and the NBA. The one thing is he's going to play extremely hard, but I think what he's benefiting right now is he can actually play their center spot, and because of his size, no one's can take advantage of him because they don't have a lot of guys that's going to go down and post up. And Doc's doing a nice job. We're going to start Boban, or we're going to start other guys in Gortat, and then we have him come off against the second unit. And with him is Lou Williams draws so much attention off the screen and roll, and when you allow him to run free, and the thing is I look at this day and age is guards used to try to box up B. Wood and the bigs. Not that we could, but we would still run in there and take that hit. He's getting a free run, no small wings or guards just trying to box him out, and he's going to get the basketball and putting it back up.
We've talked about this before because you played with him, B. Wood. I've said LeBron could win the MVP every year.
Right.
He really could. If you're really legitimately looking at what does the team do with a guy and without a guy, another example of that in that second half where to stop the bleeding, we've seen even this many years in his career, this season, he single-handedly can do that, go on an 8-0 run, facilitate and get open shots. Not having that's a big difference.
Well, yeah, when you're missing LeBron James, you're missing a lot. You're missing, first of all, your leader, the team engine, the guy that's used to having the ball in his hands. And what that does is it means everybody else has to play different roles when LeBron's not there. LeBron's usage is so high as a ball handler that now you have to get used to Lonzo Ball handling the ball. And he's a different type of ball handler. You need Kuzma to make more plays, Brandon Ingram. And so it definitely has a huge effect on the team. We already know that LeBron James not playing is definitely not good for your ball club. I mean, you saw that tonight. The Lakers team really played well in the second half against Golden State. Mm-hmm. They fought hard against Sacramento, lost a tough game. Tonight, I thought they let go of the rope a little bit. We really saw that they missed LeBron James on this court.
When you don't have a player like that for either of you, how much is the confidence, whether you want to think about you were yourself one of those players, and then you want to think about Tim, you want to think about LeBron, the safety valve of just knowing that guy's on the floor, so if I don't get mine, he's going to get his, and how much everybody maybe takes on too much when he's not on the floor.
Well, you know, superstars like the Tim Duncans and LeBron James and the Kobes and those guys, all the eyes are on them. So obviously the kick out to other guys like myself is I can drive that closeout much easier. When there's no LeBron, then the guys are staying close to you, and now it makes it a 5-on-5 basketball game. When you have a superstar, they usually contract two guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's basically somebody's open for a free run, free rebound, open shots, longer looks, and I think that's where you look at you miss guys like that draw so much attention. those guys draw two, it makes the game easier.
We have always tried to draw comparisons to bad TV shows we watch, or good ones, Different Strokes. The Gooch used to take all the lunch money.
All right.
The Vooch, he took everyone's lunch money.
The Vooch!
Tonight, like big time. Like, get out the way. Willis and nobody else was talking about anything except him after this game against Toronto. We'll tell you why. And Westworld, Valley of the Sun, something had to give.